I want to show you guys how to troubleshoot and use the needle threader on the MO series Sergers. It's super easy and super fun. Let's get started.
Your machine's not in frame.
Yeah, my bad. Let me just press one little button, bring up my machine, because I'm standing up today. I'm not sitting down and sewing. Just like that. All right, let's get started. Hey guys, it's David from Gigi's Fabric Shop, home of Juki Junkies and Janome Junkies. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the needle threader on the MO air thread sergers. We're going to troubleshoot it and show you how to replace it. And we're also going to show you just how to use it if you're having any questions or concerns on it. So I wanted to throw a few disclaimers up before we get started. This needle threader on this MO 2800 will be the same as the 1000, 2000, 2800, and the 3000. So if you have any of those models, all of the same concepts from this MO 2800 in front of me should apply to your machine back at home. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get started on replacing it, troubleshooting it, and showing you how to use it. Okay, so the first step is going to be just using your needle threader. We're not going to be troubleshooting it. We're just going to show you how to use it. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is obviously once your lower and upper looper has been threaded, you can move on to actually, threading your needles. We're going to put a link in the description of this video going over how to thread this machine properly. Make sure you check that out and watch that first, and then come to this if you're having trouble with the needle threaders. So once you've got the lower and upper needle threader done, you're going to be making sure those are disengaged. You're going to go ahead and close that door. And then you're going to rotate that hand wheel, and this is super, super important. Rotate that hand wheel until the notch on the hand wheel lines up with that black line. That's how you know your needles are going to be in the right position. Then you're going to go ahead and bring down your right thread. This is going to be the first one, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. You're just going to go ahead and push this over to the right. So this is pushed over all the way to the right. You see how it's not moving? If it's over to the left, it'll be up there. So left needle, it's going to be pulled to the left. Right needle, it's going to be pushed to the right. Once it's pushed all the way to the right, you're going to push this down, and a little tiny wire is going to pass through the eye of the needle. Once that wire is passed through the eye of the needle, then you're going to grab your thread almost like you're flossing with both hands like this, and you're just going to push it in between. There's a little V cut out on both sides. You're going to push it in between that, and you're going to actually push it back and kind of towards the bottom, and you'll hear like a little click, or you'll feel a little click. That means it's actually in the hook that goes through the eye of the needle. And then you're just going to push this lever up, and it's going to pull the thread behind the needle, and now it's threaded. And I always recommend these little TIMMI tweezers we sell on JukiJunkies.com. These are made by SEWCIOPATH. These are a fantastic pair of tweezers. I love them because they have a nice curve to them. So you can reach back here, grab your loop, and then pull it out. And now we have that needle threaded. Okay, now we're going to go to the left needle. So what we're going to do is we're going to push this to the left. Same process. Push this down all the way. Once you get that down all the way, just like that, you're going to, if you can see, you're going to see the hook in the hole of the needle. And then you're going to pull down your thread and do the same exact process. Now, it might actually be easier when threading these needles if this door is open, because it gives you a little bit more hand room to floss it through this little hole. So now I'm going to repeat that process, pushing down the bottom. I can hear it click. And you could almost, you could pull on it a little bit and it won't come back out. That's how you know it's caught on the hook that's actually going to feed it through the needle. You don't want to pull hard. These are delicate parts. Boom. Same exact thing. Now I've got a loop on the back of my needle. I can grab that small hole that's poking out on the back of the needle, and boom. Now I've got both needles threaded. So it's just that easy. And now let's go over troubleshooting it if you're doing all of these steps and you're still not having success. So the first thing that's crucial is obviously making sure your hand wheel is in the right position and your needles are in the right position. So making sure that line is lining up with the black line on the side of the machine. That's going to be step one, okay? Once you know that is in the right position, we know we're ready to go. So now what we need to do is we need to make sure maybe our needles are not inserted all the way. So what you're going to want to do is you can see that there's a small little window up here, right here in this hole here, and you can actually see the needles hitting the top. So what you want to do is you want to make sure those needles are all the way up. So what I like to do is I like to grab my 1.5 millimeter Allen key that's actually provided with your machine, stick it in this hole. You're going to loosen it, so lefty-loosey, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to bring that needle down and make sure you push it all the way up and hear it hit the top or feel it hit the top. Once you know it's at the very top, then you can go ahead and tighten it back down. That's how you know your needle's inserted correctly. Another thing that I want to mention is if you're using an 80-12 or below, it's not going to work. You want to use an 80-12 or bigger needle for the needle threader to work. And honestly, on sergers, you should always be using larger than an 80-12 more than 99% of the time. So that's something really, really important. Once we know those needles are both inserted all the way up, we know our needles are in the right position, we know our hand wheel's in the right position, we are now ready to start moving on to the next step of troubleshooting. So it's really crucial to know how these needle threaders work, and it's all about positioning and making sure everything is in the right spot at the right second for it to work. If it's not, it will not work. So let's go ahead and zoom in here right up to those needles like that. So you can see the eyes of these needles, right? You can see them nice and clear. And when you bring down this needle threader on that right needle, you want to see that little wire hook go through the eye of the needle. You see how that wire is going through the eye of the needle? That is the piece that's actually hooking onto your thread and pulling it back through the eye of that needle hole. So it's crucial that you see that. And what I have right now is, obviously with your naked eye, you can see it just ever so slightly. I'm a young guy with pretty good vision, I think, and I can see it, but it's not super, super clear. So it's not a bad idea to get a magnifying glass or your phone and zoom in and make sure that's through the eye of your needle. Now, you're going to try that with both needles, and we're going to make sure it's through both. If it's not going through both consistently, then your wire could be bent ever so slightly. So what I've learned to do, if that's the case, if your wire is bent ever so slightly, then you want to figure out where it's landing on each hole or each needle hole, and you just want to push it over. So if you're going down and it's landing on the right side of the eye of the needle, then I'm just going to want to pull this over a little bit when I go push it down to make sure it actually goes through the eye of the needle, and vice versa. So you might have to just move it around. If the left one in the far left position is still going to the right of the needle eye, then you might need to just pull on this a little bit and then push it down, and it'll probably land in the right spot. But that's not what it's supposed to do, so you might want to just replace your needle threader if that's the case. So the next steps are going to be actually adjusting your needle threader position. And now I don't recommend doing this if you don't feel like you are very good at using a small little tool, or if you're not very good at seeing these hooks. You might want to get somebody a little bit with better eye vision to help you out if you need to. So what you're going to want to do is, I'm just going to purposely mess this up. And this is the Allen key on the needle threader. I'm going to loosen this to the left. It's a 1.5 Allen key, and it comes with one in the box. I'm using my own because it's a little bit stronger and easier to adjust with. Okay, and so I'm going to zoom into the eye of the needle. Let's do the left one. It's just, I can move my needle threader around, so I can actually pivot with my finger and move this needle threader where I need it to be. So what you want to do is you want to make sure the needle threader is pushed all the way to the left while I check my left needle. So I have this plastic piece pushed all the way to the left, and I can pivot my needle threader. I'm going to pull down my lever so it's all the way down, okay? And then I'm going to push this through the eye of the needle and make sure it's in the right position. I want it to be towards the top of the eye of the needle, just like that, and pushed up. And then I'm going to go ahead and tighten down that Allen key on the shaft that's holding the needle threader. Once I have that tightened down, now I have it fixed to the right position. Now I'm going to go ahead and test out the right one and the left one. And it doesn't look like it's wanting to work now. So I did something wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen that. Oops, hit the camera. I'm going to go ahead and loosen that. Let's start with the right side, actually. All right, push it over to the right. Make sure it goes through the eye of the needle, just like that, and make sure it's touching towards the top. So you want it to be towards the top of that eye of the needle, and then make sure it's in the center, and make sure it's not pushing to the right or to the left too much. Once it's there, then you're going to go back and tighten down that Allen key, and then you can let go with your hand and make sure it stays in that same spot. Push it down a couple of times, and now we have it working again. Do the same thing to the left one. Make sure it works. Yep, I can see it. Okay, so that's all you have to do. So that's what you're going to do to troubleshoot it. And that's also the steps to replacing the needle threader if you ever had to replace the needle threader. So replacing the needle threader, same exact thing we just did. You're going to loosen this, and this whole mechanism is going to just come off. So let me just do that so you see that. And I have one more tip before I'm done here. So this thing, you'll just loosen this Allen key so it's nice and loose like that. You don't want to remove it all the way, just loosen it where it's nice and loose. And then you should be able to hold on the shaft, wiggle this, and this whole mechanism should come off. So when you buy a new needle threader, this is the piece you'll get. And this is that's how you would replace it, exactly what I just showed you how I did. If you want to try to fix your needle threader at home, which I do recommend trying before you buy them because they're not super cheap, all you would do is, if that little wire in the center, which you can kind of see here, let's see if I can see that wire in the center, that's the hook, okay? So that's the hook, that's what's grabbing your needle, this little wire in the center of these two prongs, this one right there. If it's bent to the right and it looks like it's smashed against that metal wall or smashed against the left metal wall, you can use some small tweezers or something to pry it in between and kind of push it back into the middle again like it is now, and now we're good to go. So now what we're going to do is just going to show you real quick me putting it back on. Push down the shaft, push this on just like that. And usually it's going to be pretty much flush with that shaft. I know you can actually go higher. See how it's sticking out at the bottom? It's usually going to be flush with that shaft. And I'm going to start with my right needle, bring this thing down all the way. So this push down all the way. And now I'm going to do the same thing I just showed you and just make sure that hook is actually going through the eye of the needle, pushed up towards the top, and then tighten it down. Now it's going to the right again, so I'm just going to loosen it and do one more adjustment and push it to the left a little bit more. And when you tighten it down, you do want to make sure you're not really touching the needle threader mechanism. You want to just kind of hold it in place nice and lightly, so that way you're not altering where that hook is going when you tighten it down. So you kind of want to hold it lightly. You don't want to press onto it too much. Okay, there we go. Left one. Okay, good. So there you have it. That's all you have to do to replace it / troubleshoot it / use it. I hope this video was a great video for you to actually visually see how to do all this stuff. I know that it's a little bit of a pain and sometimes it can be a little frustrating, so I do recommend setting up your phone on a little tiny tripod if you can, like I have mine right now. Set it on zoom, zoom in, and use that as your eyes and just look at your screen while you do this. It'll make it a whole lot easier when replacing / troubleshooting it. And if you can't, then get a magnifying glass, maybe one that you can stand up right in that area and just it stays there so you don't have to strain your eyes when doing this. Well, just like that, we now know how to replace, troubleshoot, and use our needle threader on our MO air thread sergers. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're interested in any Juki machines, parts, accessories, or anything related with sewing, check out JukiJunkies.com. We've got a variety of different things on there, from sewing machines to notions. You will find what you want on that website. If you guys have any questions, drop them down in the comment section below. Give us a like if you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button because we love posting more educational videos, not just on sewing machines, but on sewing in general on this channel as well. And we post every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we hope to see you guys next Sunday. Have a great rest of your day and happy Monday tomorrow. See ya.